People, by their very nature, they love to be part of the first wave of something. Anything that is relevant today, you can find somebody who would love nothing more than to sit you down and explain to you step by step how they were doing it first, how they were listening to this rapper first, how they were following this boxer first, trying this diet first, purchasing clothes from this brand first. It doesn't matter that you were doing something first before it hit the mainstream. But you find these people everywhere. You really do. I don't give a shit that you listen to XXXTentacion, when he was a SoundCloud rapper. Oh, it's before he was he's on the radio. No, I don't care. I don't. But if you're listening to this and you think, is he talking about me? I'm one of those people who love to jump on the first wave of ships, before they've left the land. Okay, hear me out on something. We need to legitimately start the conversation on the Memphis Grizzlies being title contenders. I don't. Okay, whatever. I'm probably not first on this, but I want to run through some requirements that every single NBA championship team has had, every single one since the shorts eras. Okay, and how that matches up with the more modern Memphis Grizzlies since 1981, when the stat was first recorded. 33 of the last 42 NBA championship teams finished their season in top 10 in offensive rating and top 10 in defensive rating. Just something that happens, okay? You're a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. It's really more like a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense. And that is every single NBA championship team since 1981, when offensive and defensive ratings were first recorded. And there are exceptions to that rule. We can go through the exceptions. The 1990 Pistons, who just squeezed out of the top 10. Their identity was always defense. It makes sense. What else? The 94 Rockets. They were pretty ahead of their time. They had a very modern stretching offense with Hakeem and Otis Thorpe around there. They led the league in three-point attempts, but they didn't have a stack of offensive weapons. That was just the reality. They did not have a stack of offensive weapons. Hakeem was great. Maxwell was always reliable, but when it came to the playoffs, again, I think Hakeem led the league in points. So that's all that mattered. The 95 Rockets. I've always had a bit of an issue with the 95 Rockets. I think if Mario Elie, if he missed that shot against the Suns, the higher offensively ranked Phoenix Suns would have played the Orlando Magic. It's not really an excuse because Houston ended up winning and Hakeem's awesome, but they were close to not making it. 99 Spurs, whatever, babyface Tim Duncan, they were in the bottom 10 or something in pace. It's pretty hard to be a top 10 offense when you're a bottom 10 team in pace. 01 Lakers. I don't really understand that. Can someone explain to me why they were so mediocre in defense? In the comments, please. I actually want to read this. I've watched them play, but I always watch their playoffs. And in the playoffs, 01 Lakers, what happened? They lost one game. They lost one game. So obviously they knew how to turn it on when it really mattered. 04 Pistons, they were 18th in offense. Honestly, I think the entire history of that finals is a complete anomaly. Scratch it. 2010 Lakers, they were just about top 10. So the 18 cakewalk Warriors and the bubble Lakers. Last year's Warriors, come on, they were regulating a new lineup every single week. I think that everybody knew that they had championship offensive caliber guys. Their core guys, if we're healthy in the playoffs, were championship potential. Look what happened. It's exactly what happened. Now, it's a little bit early. I've given you the stat, but it's a little bit early to start looking at statistic rankings because, the Grizzlies are 11th actually in offensive rating and 19th in defense. But, whatever. The Kings are second in offensive rating. So I don't give this a bit of time and it will level out a little bit more realistically. Last year they finished 4th in offensive rating and 6th in defensive rating. And they've only gotten better. So expect this to rise in the coming weeks. What else do championship teams have? Well, okay, it's been a superstar-driven league since... It was a superstar-driven league and a superstar-driven league now. It was a superstar-driven league when George Mikan was in the league, right? Was shooting up. Every NBA championship team, every single one, has had a superstar on the team. Except for the 78 Supersonics and the 04 Pistons. Is that everyone? I don't know if I'm missing anyone there. 78 Supersonics and 04 Pistons are only NBA teams to win a championship without a superstar. I think that's right. Anyway, Ja Morant, if you haven't been paying attention, 29 points a game, 40% from three, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. The team's 10-6. 10-6 with a lot of inconsistency in the lineup. They're bringing out from night to night. Jaren Jackson Jr. has played, 1-2 games. Brooks was out. Bane was out. They've had a very, tough to deal with lineup. And they're still really, really good. I mean, you see this team in a playoff series. Jaren Jackson Jr. has proved himself to swing games with his defense. They have a lot of depth. And, they have a lot of guys who aren't afraid to score. I've always thought that they were what we expected the Clippers to be in terms of depth. Bane has taken his game to a complete whole new level. It's been awesome to see, and it's it's not a very small sample size. I think he's very good. So I think that I think the Grizzlies. I'll say that again. Are what we expected the Clippers to be from a depth perspective. They have a lot of playoff experience. They took the Warriors 6 games, by the way. 6 games. That's how long the Celtics stayed in the fight for. Ja averaged 38 in that series, shooting over 50% from 3, 40% from the field. Like, what am I missing here? A very good team that came very, very close, that is very close from a chemistry perspective, retained all their important players. So the question now becomes, can Ja Morant be the best player on a championship team at 23 years old? That is the defining question. And, that's where it gets a little bit, far-fetched. For reference, Dwayne Wade was 24, but he had Shaq and the refs. Jordan was 28. Steph was 26. Isaiah was 27. That's usually been the blueprint for these championship squads led by guards. But, man, I just want to say the stuff that Ja is doing, his playmaking, his awareness, his intensity, his shot, his defense. The defense the defense and shooting that's surrounding him, the Grizzlies are legit. What do you think? Write in the comments there. Like and subscribe, guys.